Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
Carly walks into her kitchen and dining area to find Valentine setting up a romantic regale for two. Carly says he should have given her a heads up, and it's like he's trying to make her life more delicate. He asks whether this is about the surprise regale or about them sleeping together, and she says it's both. Valentine says he can simplify effects they don't have to sleep together again, and he'll eat his food in the garret. She tells him to stop and stay. They sit down to regale, and he tells her that part of this surprise was because it gets lonely in his garret. She lets him know that she enjoys his company too, and if the stakes weren't so high and lives on the line, she'd enjoy having him as an upstairs neighbor. Laura gets bad and worse news. Martin visits Laura at her office and reveals he may be leaving city. He's been offered a case in Reno, and he could be gone for an indefinite period. He offers to turn it down for her, knowing Kevin and Ace are in Dublin, but she insists he not do that as she'll be then when he gets back. Latterly, Sidwell shows up and reveals he's behind Martin getting the case in Reno, as her family was getting too suspicious and too close to their working arrangement. Laura gets it, he'll have Martin killed if he finds out about them. He also informs Laura that he knows exactly where Kevin and Ace are in Ireland, so it's stylish that she works with him rather than him having to force her. Laura yells that there's only so much she can do, and Tracy Quartermain is fighting the zoning constitution. He is upset and says that soon this messy part of his work, the heliport, taking Sonny's piers, will all be over. Still, he is planning on leaving Port Charles anytime soon. In fact, he's settling down then. Tracy is concerned about Brooklyn. At the sanitarium, Tracy runs into Brooklyn, who has just come from visiting baby Phoebe. When she learns Brooklyn and Chase want to foster the baby, she worries she'll get her heart broken each over again when she has to hand her back, just like with Bailey Lou and Violet. She feels there are trained foster parents who can take the baby. Brooklyn says she and Chase set up Delilah and were there when Phoebe was born, they've a connection to her. Tracy California can't help but wonder if this baby is a way for her and Chase to get past the difficulties they've been having. Brooklyn insists that her and Chase's problems are in the history, and she would use a child to fix them. Tracy still fears her heart will break when she has to give her up. Farewells are delicate. On the pier, Rocco intelligencers and listens in as Britt tells Lucas she can't thank him and Marco enough for all their help. She just hopes she and Jason can reverse mastermind her meds. As for Marco, Britt is happy for him. She says as awful as this situation has been, it led them both to chancing their person, the bone. They can count on. Lucas also wonders why Jason isn't then. In Alexa's office, we see that Cullum has picked Marco and leaves him bleeding out on the bottom. He turns off the office lights and closes the door, having seen Lucas' communication on Marco's phone to meet him on the pier. What really happened to Nathan? At Britt's place, Nathan finds Jack searching her room, but she's not there. Jack states he needs to find Britt ASAP, it's critical. Nathan says he doesn't have a leave and shouldn't be poking. Jack wonders if he should be poking through his life, given his 7 times missing and claims of amnesia. Nathan says he'd like to know what happened to him more than anyone. Jack reveals he did a little digging and set up nothing, so someone went to a lot of trouble to cover up what really happened to him, which could mean he's in commodity illegal up to his neck. Jack and Nathan soon find Britt has gutted the place out, and Jack notes it looks like Nathan's family is planning to vanish again. At the High Academy, Dante, with Alexis standing there, tells Jason that this leave comes from director Ross Cullum, so he has to take him in. Jason relents and hands over his gun, at which is when Danny appears and wonders what's going on. Dante notes the look in Jason's eye and tells him not to do this. Jason slugs Dante. He tells Danny, "Don't follow me, I love you, son," and books it. Dante calls in the incident to the PCPD and puts an APB out on Jason. Soon, Nathan and Chase arrive on the scene. After Chase takes some statements, Dante asks Chase to call Brennan down then. When Dante decides to call Cullum down to the scene, Nathan suddenly decides to go help look for Jason. Avoiding Cullum maybe? Alexis ultimately leaves to take Danny home, and Jack shows up and insists to Dante that he has no idea what the WSB wants with Jason. Back at the pier, Lucas tells Britt that he's actually going to miss her. She tells him not to get mushy on her. They both hope to see one another again, and Britt insists on no leverage as farewell. They say their farewells, and Lucas takes off. Rocco stays hidden when Cullum appears, gun in hand, and demands the vials of meds. She hands them over, and he instantly mashes them on the ground. He says he's arresting her, but she knows he's taking her reverse to Windmere to lock her up and work on the prototype. The espionage Rocco drops commodity and makes a sound, abstracting Cullum. Britt uses her bag to swing at him, but he grabs her and ultimately throws her to the ground and knocks her out. Cullum is about to shoot Britt when Jason appears and tackles him. Back at Carly's, she tells Valentine the big regale party at Windmere is listed hereafter, so he can probe the coverts while she distracts everyone. That's when they hear Otto pull up outdoors. It turns out to be Lucas. Valentine hides as Carly lets Lucas in. Lucas gives her the joyful news that he and Marco are moving out of Windmere, and they both have said they love each other. In the show's final moments. In her office, Laura prodigies if someone were to hang Marco, would Sidwell cooperate or fight back? He thinks he'd assess the situation and see where his advantage is, and she should do the same. He also bids her goodnight. At the sanitarium, Tracy offers Brooke Lynn her full support in fostering Phoebe, but she just hates the study of her being hurt again. Tracy also asks to meet the girl. In her kitchen, Lucas tells Carly that he and Marco will be so happy together, and she insists on paying their bill at the Metro Court. Back in Alexis' office, Marco tries to get up, but falls down. Hang in there, chum. Outside the office, Alexis is with Danny and just wants to check if the WSB's rights overweigh the original law, but Danny just wants to go down to the station to check on effects. Outside the High Academy, Dante tells Jack that effects have escalated, so Jack needs to tell him what's going on. Jack says he's in the dark, too. On the pier, Jason and Cullum scuffle on the ground over the gun. Jason kicks it down, and the men continue to fight. As Cullum gets the upper hand, Rocco gets the gun and shoots Cullum in the reverse, and he goes down. Oh, Grandpa Sonny, you need to make another body vanish. In the ever-turbulent world of General Hospital, the latest sequence of events unfolds like a storm that refuses to break, a chaotic mixture of fragile tenderness, buried secrets, and escalating violence that pulls nearly every major player in Port Charles into its orbit, beginning with a charged and complicated encounter between Carly Corinthos Spencer and Valentine Cassadine, where what should have been a simple evening instead transforms into an emotionally loaded confrontation wrapped in unexpected intimacy, as Carly walks into her kitchen and dining space only to discover Valentine carefully arranging a romantic dinner, candles and intention laid out like a quiet confession she never agreed to receive, immediately triggering her frustration as she challenges him for not warning her, accusing him of turning her already complicated life into something even more difficult to navigate, while Valentine, attempting to diffuse the tension with calm reason, questions whether her anger is truly about the surprise itself or about the deeper, more personal complication of their recent physical and emotional entanglement, to which Carly sharply responds that it is both, a raw admission that exposes just how entangled they have become in each other's emotional gravity. Valentine, rather than escalating the moment, offers an unexpected simplicity, suggesting they can step back entirely from intimacy and even joking that he can retreat to the attic and keep his distance if that is what she prefers, a moment that introduces an almost gentle form of encouraging words amid their tension, softening the emotional edges just enough for Carly to pause and redirect the interaction, telling him firmly to stop, to stay, and not to turn their situation into something colder than it already is, and so they sit together, the atmosphere shifting from confrontation to uneasy companionship, as Valentine admits part of his gesture was driven by loneliness in his attic quarters, a subtle vulnerability that Carly does not ignore, acknowledging in return that despite the chaos surrounding their lives and the constant presence of danger, she does enjoy his company, and even goes further to confess that if the stakes were not so high and lives were not constantly on the line, she might actually welcome him as a neighbor in a more normal, less dangerous world. A fleeting moment of warmth suspended within a larger narrative of angry threats, hidden agendas, and emotional instability. That defines their current reality.